Next, we have Ukrainian poet and translator, Taras Malkovych. And he comes all the way from Ukraine. Please, let's give a round of applause for Taras.
Hello again. It so happened I'm for the third time on this stage right now. The first poem that I'll read is going to be in Ukrainian. It's going to be 3 poems in Ukrainian, which I will later read in its English translation so that you could understand that better. Наймаєш темряву кінотеатральної зали, щоб відчути світло сліпих. Сидиш сам, не підпускаючи до екрану інших зрячих, аби ті не зловтішалися. Сліпець виходить на проїжджу частину, орієнтуючись на звуки машин. Звук ніби дотик. Звук наближення настільки інший, ніж звук проминання. Настільки дотик наближення коханої прилегліший до тіла, ніж дотик віддалення. Дотик віддалення, коли дівчина повільно забирає з твого обличчя долоню, а потім по черзі кожен пальчик. Дотик віддалення, наче боязка до болю дитина акуратно відліплює пластир з затягнутої рани. Дотик віддалення, наче зі знятим на кіноплівку поступовим дотиком до жінки забавляються режисери монтажу, відмотуючи плівку назад. Сліпець клацає пальцями і зубами, щоб відчути зміну звуків, наблизившись до перешкоди. Ти калатаєш серцем, щоб напроситися на дотик. Сліпець легко проходить між машиною, що наближається, і машиною, що віддаляється. А як тобі протиснутися між 2 дотиками? Дотиком наближення і дотиком віддалення. Машини тобі байдужі, а за кожним з дотиків хочеться йти, на кожен дотик хочеться відповідати. Саме тут тобі йдеться проходіння навпомацьки навіть більше, ніж найнезрячішому. Сліпець іде на звук, бо хоче вижити. Ти йдеш на дотик, бо хочеш погрітися від прихильних рук коханої, поки ще не припік самовільний, нескорений тобою сонячний промінь. Thank you. Now the same poem in English. You hire the darkness of the cinema hall to feel the light of the blind. You sit there alone, letting nobody else with the sight gloat over the blind. A blind man steps on the roadway guided by the sound of the passing cars. A sound becomes so much like a touch. The sound of the car approaching feels just as much different from the sound of the car passing, as the sound of his lover's proximity feels more adjacent to his body than the sound of her estrangement. The sound of estrangement, when a girl slowly withdraws her palm from her face, finger by finger. The sound of estrangement, as if a pain-fearing child carefully takes the plaster off the healed wound. The sound of estrangement, as if a film editor plays with a bedroom scene by playing it backwards. A blind man clicks his fingers and chatters his teeth to avoid an obstacle. You make your heart pound to wheedle a touch from your lover. A blind man can easily run between cars, both approaching and passing, but how are you going to squeeze between the touches? The touch of proximity and the touch of estrangement. You couldn't care less about the cars, but you want to follow every touch, respond to each of the touches. This is where you grope in the dark more than the blindest man ever. A blind man follows the sound, for he wants to survive. You follow the touch, craving for the warmth of your lover's benevolent hands, before the capricious, rebellious ray of sun strikes down. Thanks. Now back to only English. The anaconda inside you weaves along your spine gracefully, from your waist up to your neck, pressing itself equally against all your bones, as if millions of blind men are longing to shake your hand. Your spine clenches so much that if it was your skin, it would change color. But being a spine, it can do nothing more than crumble apart. You attain the snake's flexibility, and now you are ready to dance to the sounds of the pipe of any snake charmer. So here you are, bending backwards unnaturally, mesmerizing your audience that still sees you as a human. You conceal your tongue. You do your best not to give yourself away. Thanks. And the part that you've heard yesterday, the people that were here, the executioner. In one ancient, well-known executioner's family, the work of executing was passed on from generation to generation. So with time, it was the turn of the executioner's small son to learn this trade. But the small son really feared blood. Didn't even run to play war with the neighborhood warriors who were so anxious to shoot one another with red paint. Instead, every night, the father brought the boy large round coconuts by the tens, about the size of a person's head. The boy nervously drank the liquid from them, closing his eyes, and then he threw the empty coconuts into a pile. So it was that the neighborhood girls peered curiously through the windows, thirstily licking their lips at the sight. Maybe the executioner's son would rather play with them. But every time before drinking, he dug out a proper hole in the coconut and showed in handfuls of cherries to color the liquid, because he didn't drink the liquids of the coconuts just for pleasure, and definitely not to fill himself with the delicious conscience. The executioner's son drank from the coconut heads so that he could do away with his fear of blood, so that he could transform himself into someone who possessed an executioner's lack of pity. They say that later he went crazy. He went from house to house and threw cracked open and emptied coconuts on people's doorsteps, and waited until the liquid from them spilled beneath his feet, and then he fell to his knees. And so in this way, he did not saw off a single head, and refused to shed a single drop of sweet blood with 3 well-recited Our Fathers. Thanks. Now back to a very short Ukrainian poem, after which I'll read its English translation. Isn't that too low? Засинаєш так міцно зажмурившись, щоб потопельники твоїх очей, колись втопившись у них, вже не змогли покинути своїх колодязів. Та вдень ти знову відкрита для нових невмілих плавців, коли задивлена своїми вічно розширеними зіницями, ти ще поглиблюєш провалля. А десятки зустрічних чоловіків, глянувши на тебе, хоч не хоч віднаходять той рухливий принадний вир і таки топляться. І вже мусиш міцніше жмуритися вночі і частіше гратися в хованки удень. Хоча все одно жоден з потопельників не має за що вхопитись і зісковзає з твоїх ніжних, як відшліфований океаном білий камінець, рис тендітного обличчя. Тож тобі зовсім немає про що хвилюватися, човнику потопельників, дівчино-корабель, країно кінцевих запливів. You fall asleep with your eyes shut so tightly that those who once drowned in them would never be able to escape from their wells. But at daytime you welcome more inept swimmers, as enchanted by your eternally dilated pupils, you deepen the abyss, and dozens of approaching men cast a look at you and unwittingly find the enticing movable whirlpool in which they drown. And then you have to narrow your eyes tighter at night and play hide and seek more often during the day, although neither of the drowned has something to hold on to, as he slips out of the frame of your fragile face, as gentle as an ocean-polished white stone. And so you have nothing to worry about. The boat of the drowned, the girl ship, the shore of final swims. Oh, that's going to be the harsh one. How does it feel to see flames drawn in the golden horde on a snowy lake, to see paper bending under the blows of a typewriter's levers like a slave being whipped, to see rusty water poured from a burning pan into a clean container, to see tea spread in cloudy orange bowls through a cup when a bag is steeped too long, to see a bull in corrida puzzled upon seeing the red cape on its own back and not in the toreador's hands, to see a girl puzzled in a crowded street when she is hugged only by old hags in kerchiefs, to see her frightened as she walks down the road, stepping on everything she failed to smash against the ground, and to see her later exhausted by walking, rolling down a cobblestone street, trying to create music, making it easier for her to roll, clapping her hands when she's able, the clapping making the cobblestones fall into the lake, rhythmically tapping on the heads of the drowned horde's warriors. And when the girl rolls all the way down, she has nowhere to fall. Instead of the lake, there is a rickety cobbled bridge over the water. Now she can play the cobblestones with her ribs like a xylophone without even getting up. How does it feel? Don't resist your birth, oh flower. I'm looking for a red light somewhere here, but okay. If there is no, then let's continue. And really, we can disappear by totally crumbling apart, similar to the scattering of ashes, but it's only bits of us that will crumble. For if bread is God's flesh, and if we are made in the image of God, then our flesh is made of bread. That is why it's not so solid, though this gives us a chance to be flexible, for whenever we bend up or down, the composition of our bread-like flesh can easily be carried by the wine that is our blood. Sometimes the wine combines with the bread, and then we notice in one another that our lips are most saturated by one of them. Only three left. My unflappable tranquility succumbs to yours. How will my message reach you? And how will your response reach me? And tell me, how will you grow up if even your shadow disintegrates on the stairs? Yes, it feels so good to understand everything. It's as if you're looking at a collection of nuclei removed from objects. And the last one, in Ukrainian and then in English, and then we're done. Хотів би, щоб те, що між нами, завжди діялося під водою. Пообв'язувалися б вантажами, понадягали б на спини по величезному аквалангу і так би й жили. Те, що між нами відбувалося б настільки повільно, що обом здавалося б, ніби воно ніколи не скінчиться. Рухи наші були б дуже-дуже обережні. Не змогли б сваритися, бо тоді просто позадихалися б. Та й де б ми ще навчилися так чітко розуміти одне одного самими поглядами, навіть якщо ті погляди крізь маски на обличчях. Я найняв би на узбережжі добрих кухарів, полював би для тебе рибу і слав би її нагору, щоб там її зготували, а тоді знову спустили нам. Ногам було б м'яко ходити піском, а часом Гра світла пробивалася б крізь хвилясту поверхню води і встиляла б морське дно зеленавим бруком. Ти перевзувалася б у парадне взуття, і ми піввечора чимчикували б дном. А довкруг наших ніг обвивалися б гнучкі термометри мурен, що ними море міряє собі температуру. І якось після чергової дефіляди ми повернулися б до нашого рифу, поскидали б із себе все спорядження, вляглися б у пісок і ділились би повітрям, аж доки не проростуть на наших спинах зябра, і доки у тебе в животі не замолотить малесенькими кулачками новий плавець. Thanks. I've just translated this morning, so the translation is really raw, but let's try. That would be the last one. I would like this whole thing between us to always go on underwater. We'd tie our weight belts around our waists. We'd put huge aqualungs on each other's backs, and we'd just live that way. The whole thing between us would go on so slowly that both of us would treat it as endless. Our movements would be extremely careful. Family quarrels would be just impossible, for we'd simply run out of breath while swearing. And where else would we learn to understand each other so thoroughly at a single glance, even if through the diving masks? I would hire the best cooks on the coastline so that I could hunt the fish for you and send it up to the land for them to cook it and send it down to us again. Our legs would be gently walking the sand, and sometimes the play of sunlight would pierce through the wavy water and cover the bottom of the sea with greenish cobblestone. You would put on your best shoes, and we would walk around all night, our legs entwined with those bendy thermometers of eels used by the sea to take its own temperature. And one night, after yet another stroll, we would return to our reef, take off all of our equipment, lie in the sand like that, and share our air with each other until gills grow through our backs, until you feel kicking against your stomach tiny fists of the new swimmer. Thank you.